Big Brother's Lotan Carter reveals he was secretly rushed to hospital after vomiting blood. Lotan Carter was secretly rushed to hospital after vomiting blood 150 times in the Big Brother house and has claimed the pain he was in was the real cause of his aggressive behavior. The male stripper, who was removed from the house earlier this week after a furious bust-up with the other housemates, has revealed how he begged to leave the house multiple times due to the extreme pain he was in with an ulcer in his stomach which eventually burst. The stripper claims the stress inside the house made the ulcer burst, leaving him in extreme pain and causing him to vomit blood. Speaking exclusively to The Sun Online in his first interview since leaving Big Brother, he said, "I was vomiting blood. If you look at the video when they booted me out, you can see the hospital band on my wrist. I was throwing up constantly. They had to take me to hospital. I had an ulcer in my stomach and it erupted with the stress." Despite vomiting up blood, Lotan told how Big Brother bosses convinced him to remain in the house, but the pain he was in led to his frustration and exasperated the situation with Isabel, causing him to drink heavily and row with her before eventually being rushed to hospital when the ulcer burst. Dream Boys stripper Lotan Carter is told by Big Brother why he is being removed from the reality house. Lotan returned from the hospital at 9 a.m. the next day and slept in the studio, before being reintroduced to the main house at 3 p.m. However, he then says he was taken to the diary room, and despite begging to quit the show multiple times, furious Lotan told of his shock when bosses explained he was being removed from the house. He added, "I have ulcerative colitis. I had an ulcer in my stomach when I went in and the stress made me vomit. They said they wanted me back in the house, but I told them I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't take S all the time. I was getting S all the time. I said, please, I've reached my tipping point, I need to leave, but every time they would talk me down. I couldn't defend myself." Speaking of his final day in the house, Lotan revealed how he told producers about his illness after they shut off access to the toilets. "During the day I was being sick all the time. They shut off the toilets and asked me to go into the diary room. I told them what was happening and I thought I had something wrong with my stomach. I asked for them to get me Gaviscon. It felt like heartburn, it was so painful. Then all this stuff kicked off. Isabel was niggling me. I was cleaning up and she was throwing butter on the floor. I shook my head at her and said, 'Enough said.' I went back into the diary room and told Big Brother I wanted to go home. I felt so ill because of what I thought was heartburn, so I had a few drinks. I had stopped caring." Lotan said the way he was treated was underhand. Unbeknown to Lotan, he didn't have heartburn at all. After drinking heavily and vomiting, the ulcer burst. Lotan explained, "I was petrified. I went from being mad because I was stressed and in so much pain, to crying because I was throwing up so much. Blood looks like a lot when it's in a toilet anyway. But when it was coming out like vomit, but it was just blood. I kept doing it. I must have been sick 150 times. I opened my mouth and blood would come out. It was terrifying. They took me straight to hospital in the ambulance. They checked all my bloods and told me I needed an endoscopy. I told them I didn't want to be there anymore. I wanted to leave and get myself sorted, but it started again. They told me they wanted me to stay. Big Brother's Lotan Carter removed from the house after security rushed in to break up a fight. I was in hospital until 9 a.m. and I went back. They talked me around. I arrived back and then they took me back to the studios and I went in through a side door. About 3 p.m., they took me into the diary room and told me to leave. I couldn't believe it because I'd been trying so hard to get out. After the row I went to the diary room and said I was feeling really ill. I said I wanted to get out. They tell you this isn't Guantanamo Bay, but they tell you how well you're doing. But they don't tell you what's going on outside. Their ratings were probably doing well because of it. Lotan also blasted the show for kicking him out in such an underhand way. That's why I had no comment. It was so underhand. They pestered me to go back in, even though I was ill and I said multiple times I wanted to leave, but they wanted to publicly kick me out, rather than just let me go. Channel 5 have been contacted for comment.